Guys, welcome to my channel Shave in Solitude. My name is Siraj and I hope all of you guys are doing really well. Today we are going to be reviewing a new razor. This razor is called as Tier 1. That's the name of the razor company. Now as soon as you see this particular razor, I know what you're thinking. You are thinking, hey Siraj, isn't this very similar to a Henson? Fair point. Then the next thing that you're going to go ahead and say, hey Suraj, isn't it eerily similar also to Taisoto? You're right in that as well. Let me just tell you why. So this particular razor, one of the sides of the razor has an angle of 30 degrees. The second side has an angle of 38 degrees. And both the sides have different blade gaps and blade exposures. So I will compare this razor to both the Henson and the Taisoto and obviously share with you guys what my thoughts are. So this razor released, I think towards the end of May 2026, early June. So I reached out to Tier 1 and I requested, can I please get a sample that I can test and review so that people know what is it that they're going to get when they buy it. And they graciously said yes. So I did not pay for this razor. I received it. But you guys know me. You guys know me for how I do my reviews. So this is going to be completely detailed, unbiased, and my thoughts on whether I think it's a good razor or it's not. So do I think it's a good razor? Let's see. All right, so before we get into more details, let's get into the razor specifications first. So when I'm showing the razor specifications of the Tier 1 razor, I'm obviously comparing it to the Taisoto, which has two sides, the mild and the medium. And I'm also comparing it to two separate razors from Henson, the Henson mild and the Henson medium. Now, in terms of pricing, they're all pretty much around the same. There is not too much of a difference. In terms of where the razor is made, in case that is one of the deciding factors for you, the Taisoto is made in China, the Hensons are made in Canada, and the Tier 1 is made here in the US in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, in terms of blade gap and blade exposure, I mean, that is what we are mainly looking at. Now, I had showcased that the Taisoto's mild side is very much similar to the mild side of a Henson, so the Henson mild. However, in actuality, in real world use, it felt a lot more milder than a Henson mild, and I wasn't happy with it. The Taisoto medium, in the similar way, was very similar to the Henson medium razor, and this side was able to go ahead and do a pretty decent job. Now, when it comes to the Tier 1, you will notice that it has the highest blade gap between all the razors that we are comparing, which is a good thing. That means it gives you a little bit more surface area for the blade to contact the skin and be able to shave your hair. The second thing is that Tier 1 also has two sides. Now, one side is called as the guard side, and it is at a 30-degree shaving angle. And the second side is called as the smooth side, and that has a much more open shaving angle. They are saying it's 38 degrees, but as I will show you through the shave, you can vary it because there is in reality no fixed angle. So I just quickly refresh the screen, or else we'll be seeing a lot of red marks all over the screen. So now let's talk about the blade gap and blade exposure. Now you'll notice that for the Tier 1, the mild side, or the guard side as they'd like to call it, has a negative 0.06 blade exposure. Now in my use, I found this to be useful because of the large blade gap, I was able to still get a very, very decent shave, and I was able to apply pressure as required. But because the blade exposure was negative, the chances of cutting myself were almost negligible. In the similar way, the smooth side, or which I like to call like more of a medium side, that has a positive blade exposure of 0.05. Now, on paper, it looks like it is the lowest when you compare it to a Henson medium or a Taisoto medium side. But in reality, when I have been using it for the past so many days, it feels more efficient compared to what the number seems like. In terms of weight and height, I think the weight is pretty much around the same weight, around 40 grams is give or take the weight. In terms of the height, based on the handle that you choose for the tier 1 razor, the height could change. Okay, now that we have finished the razor specifications, let's get into something else that I want to let you guys know right at the very start. So when you're going to the tier 1 razor website, the handles that you can choose are three of them. So this is one of the handles. So this is a two-piece handle. It goes ahead and it becomes a shorter handle. Then you can go ahead and you can add this on. You can remove this particular handle from here, and obviously because this particular portion is really small, so you can remove that and you can just add this particular handle there, making this as the overall height of the razor. Okay, then you have a second handle which is a little bit more thicker and a little bit kind of more in line with what we see in regular safety razors. And then you have a third handle which looks like a bullet. Looks really cool. So here are my thoughts on the handles, and tier 1 was very kind enough to go ahead and send me all the three of them, the handles. Razor head is only one, for me to test out how they were. So my thought is this, guys. This particular handle, even if you add that particular portion, I think the handle becomes too long. It's not easy for you to hold, maneuver. And this particular handle, I think, is a little too short. You needed at least this much of length to be able to manage the handle properly. So I will not suggest for you guys to pick up the long handle. Now let's talk about the bullet handle. So the bullet handle also, in terms of length, this is slightly better, as you can see. However, there are two things wrong with this particular handle. Number one, there is absolutely no knurling on this particular handle. It's absolutely smooth. So it's going to be a little difficult for you to hold on to with soapy hands. Number two is the end of the handle is a taper. Now, the problem that happens with the taper is when you're doing your third pass, which is south to north, you need to be able to hold on to something here, because the pressure that you're putting on this last pass, which is the toughest pass for most people, you're not going to be able to hold on to it well enough because of this tapered handle. So again, my suggestion, this is my personal one, where I will not go ahead and get this particular handle. So this is the third handle. This comes right in the middle. Overall, I still think it's a little longer than what it should be, and it's a little thicker than what it should be. But out of all the three handles, if I was to choose one handle, I will go with this. So the next thing that you might ask is, Siraj, hey, it's okay, I'll just switch out a handle from one of the other razors. Now there is a little bit of a problem over there. So the problem is the thread. Now, tier 1, because of the metal of this particular razor, they went with a thread 10 by 24 rather than the regular standard of 10 by 32. Now what that means is that if you try to screw on any other razor handle onto this, it will not go in. So you are going to be limited to the handles that tier 1 currently goes ahead and sells. So that being the case, choosing the handle rather than what looks fanciest, but what is most functional is going to be crucial. And at least based on what I have used, this handle is the one that you should go in for. Now let's talk about blade loading. Now obviously, given that both these sides are different, so this particular guarded side is the one with 30 degrees. This side, which is smooth, there is no markings here. This is supposed to shave at a shave angle of 38 degrees. Now, that means you need to make sure that the top cap and bottom cap are aligned in the correct way every time. So there are two ways that you can do it. The very first way that you can do it is, so if you notice, there are two groove lines on this side and there is one groove line on this side. So when you're closing the top cap and bottom cap, you have to make sure that the 2 matches with the 2 and the 1 matches with the 1. The second way that you can make sure of that is, you will notice that one of the blade holding tabs is longer than the second one. The one which is longer goes into this one, which has got a little bit of a hole. So you will match the one which is longer with the hole and you will drop it in. Once you do that, you will notice again that these two sides have the 2 and this side has the 1. So that's the way to ensure that you are putting the blade on correctly. So let's go ahead, let's put a blade on right now. So I am going in with a second use treat platinum. So I'm just going to drop the blade onto the top cap like I've shown you guys, press from the center and hold from the sides. I've gone ahead and I've done that. And then I can easily see that this side has the taller tab and this side has the hole for that tab. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this on there and then hang on to it again. And then I am going to screw this on and the razor is ready to be used. All right, I'm going to lather up now. And for the software today, a rookie card by Adopted Acres Soap Company is what we're going to use. I have the matching splash with it as well. So let me get lathered up and let's start the shave. So just so that you guys know, we're working with 2 days of growth. I can't wait to get this off. So we're ready for pass number 1. Now what I've noticed, the way that I like to use the razor is, I prefer to use the milder side for my passes 1 and 2. The main reason for that is, as you guys know about wet shaving, it's about the process of gradual hair reduction. I don't need to go to town with the side which has the more positive blade exposure. I can take it a little easy on my skin, go with pass 1 and 2 with the milder side, and then finish off the third pass with the more aggressive side. All right, so let's begin. This is the side that I'm going with. This is called as the guarded side. And let's begin the shave. Let's go ahead and angle this. The angle in this one is already pretty much built in. So just put it on the face. Cut it a couple of times to make sure it started cutting, and then let's do the shave. Now what I've noticed with this side is, due to the negative blade exposure, it is virtually impossible to cut yourself. Doug Lane's soaps, as you guys know, They have some phenomenal residual slickness. All right, let's wash up and see how is it that we did. So for the first pass, it's decent. If you're a beginner, you'll have a good feeling that, okay, you were able to go ahead and get your first pass done and you didn't cut yourself. So now let's lather up and do pass number 2. All right, we're ready for pass number 2. Still going with the guarded side, the milder side for the second pass across the grain. And for people who are starting off, or even seasoned shavers who are using it, don't be afraid to put a little bit of pressure because of the negative blade exposure. You are pretty safe. So what I've also found is due to the negative blade exposure, these areas of mine, which are really hard hair and I need to multiple times, buff it. I can buff it with this side and my skin still feels safe. Now let's move on to the next side. Just in case you guys were wondering, a lot of stubble being taken off. Now let's do the neck. My neck hair is one of the toughest hairs on my face. All right, I'm going to wash up and let's then meet back for pass number 3. All right, you definitely need the third pass, but it has reduced quite a bit of my hair, but obviously nowhere close to BBS. So let's lather up and let's get ready for pass number 3. So we're back doing pass number 3. Now this time we'll switch over to what they like to call it as the smooth side. Guys, just keep in mind, although on paper the blade exposure looks like 0.05, seems to be quite mild. In reality, when I've been shaving with this, it feels a little bit more than just 0.05. So that being the case, just like on the guarded side, like I said, you can put whatever pressure you want, you'll be fine. I can't say the same for the smoother side. So this is very good when you are probably learning how to shave, because the angle you pretty much got from the guarded side. But on this side, now you have to step up your game a little bit. You have to look at the angle because the angle is not completely built in. Although they call it as 38 degrees, I think it's a much more open angle, which is good so that you can figure out what your right angle is. And then the second thing is you need to ensure that this time you're focusing on technique and pressure. So put lesser pressure on the smoother side, guys. All right, let's begin. The blade clamping on this is very good. There is pretty much no chatter that I feel. This is the area that generally, for many razors that I've used, this is the area because my hair is really hard, that in case there is chatter, I will feel it here. Mustache area, let's relather. Now the chin. Couple of small weepers here and here, nothing too big. That's why I was telling you guys that you need to be a little careful on this other smoother side. All right, let's wash up. Let's see how's it that we did. All of this is absolutely squeaky clean, guys. I have a little bit left on this side, nothing here, and just a little bit left here. So let me quickly do an off-camera touch-up pass, and then let's go through the alum and see how's it that we did. All right, let's put the alum and see how's it that we did. Minimal feedback, guys. A little bit of feedback here. Yeah, a little bit of feedback on my neck. Not too crazy. Maybe like a 1 out of 5 or a 0.75. Not bad. For the quality of shave, not bad. All right, I'm going to keep this on for 30 seconds and then we will be back. All right, guys, we're back. Just washed off the alum. Squeaky clean, absolutely. I love getting a BBS, guys. I strive for it on every shave. All right, so let's do this. Let me take you guys first through my subjective rating, and then let's meet back here for my final thoughts. So in terms of my subjective rating for the tier 1 razor, in terms of value, I think it's okay. It's in line with similar aluminum razors. It's not higher, it's not lower. Yes, there is one of the razors that they offer which is slightly lower at around $58. But the handle which comes with it is something that I'm not very happy with. So, okay is what I gave. In terms of fit and finish, I think it's made very well. The finishing is great. There are no, stark machining marks. It's not slippery. It's grippy enough. So I've given it a rating of great. Now, when it comes to balance, I have given it one slightly lower rating, and this is primarily because of the handle choices that they have. I'm not very happy with them. The handle that I use during the shave is probably the handle I will request most of you guys to go in for. The other two handles might look nice, but at least to me, they're not very functional. Efficiency, I think, was phenomenal. As you guys saw, it was able to take down 2 days of growth with a 3-pass shave, ending with an absolutely smooth BBS shave. Aggressiveness. So if you're a beginner, I think you need to be just slightly careful when you're using the smooth side because of the positive blade exposure. But apart from that, I think the shave was good. So I went ahead and I gave it a rating of good. So it gets an overall score of 81.25, which means I do recommend the razor. So now let's get back to my final thoughts. So guys, we're back. Now in terms of my final thoughts about this razor, so let's first and foremost talk about what we started the video with. Although you can compare it to a Henson or a Taisoto, it's very different. Let me just tell you why. Henson mild, and I absolutely love that razor. I believe there are few people who still find it A, either a little too mild, or B, in spite of the built-in angles, there are a few people who still find the shave a little rough. Compared to that, the tier 1, the guarded side, is going to give you a much more safer shave. Number two, in terms of the Taisoto, now if you guys remember my video, in the Taisoto, I found the mild side to be too mild. Now, what I did show you guys on this tier 1 review is I tried to do a 3-pass shave on the mild side or the guarded side of this razor as well. It worked. It worked better than the Taisoto. However, I think the overall BBS was a little short-lived. That being said, for the past 7 days that I've shaved with this razor using the technique that I've shown you now, which is pass 1 and 2 with the guarded side, pass 3 with the smooth side, I've gotten some phenomenal shaves, guys. One of the things that I don't rank, but I measure for myself, is how long does the BBS last, right? So I'll typically shave in the morning, let's say around 10:30, and then before I'm going to bed, which typically turns out to be around 10:30 at night or maybe even later, I will take a shower and then I'll go to bed. And one of the things I do when I've taken the shower, I still feel my face to see, is it still smooth? This is one of the very few razors where, yes, there has been growth which has come back, but the growth is significantly lesser than some of the other razors that I have as well. So from that point of view, I can't deny it. It's a good razor. And I think this razor is very good for beginners to begin with, because the guarded side is perfect. You're not going to go ahead and cut yourself. And then once you've mastered the guarded side, switch over to the smooth side. And because of the positive blade exposure and the more open angle, you have a tool which you can practice to learn shaving with a regular DE razor. I can also recommend this to regular wet shavers as well, like you saw, completely PBS shave. Yes, and I completely get it. Many of us don't like to have the botheration of switching sides. We want both the sides to have the same blade gap and blade exposure, and I completely get it. If you're one of them, this razor probably is not for you, but you're willing to give it a try, I think you will be surprised with the BBS shave that you get, especially if you do the 3-pass like I did. Last thing is, please keep in mind the handle choice that I told you to go with. Go with this handle, guys. You will thank me later. The other handles might look fancier, but at least in my specific use case, I didn't like them. I didn't think it functioned well. I think it took away from the balance of the razor, the grip that I was having with my passes. So that's my 2 cents on it. And then finally, Alex, who is the owner of Tier 1, who had sent the razor to me, I had reached out to him in case if he could give some kind of a discount code for you guys. Again, I'm not going to earn anything out of this. So he did. The discount code is Solitude10. I will put it on the screen and I'll put it in the video description box as well. Please, if you want to go ahead and give it a try, use that code to get 10% off. So Alex, thank you for doing that. You didn't need to, but you did. Thank you. So that's about it, guys. That is my overall take on the Tier 1 razor. I think overall it's a pretty good razor. If you guys want to give it a try, I don't think you will be disappointed. I hope all of you guys have a wonderful week ahead, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.